Yo, what's going on then, guys? It's your boy Gregson here, and one thing that I seem to come across with people who've just started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Is that they struggle to make a deck, or they struggle on how to build a deck from scratch, from a basic idea. And what I want to show in this video is how I personally build decks, and hopefully you guys innovate it into your own deck building. Also, A-Hill is PMing me, who just became an admin, and he's rubbing it in my face. So, usually when I build decks, I like to start off with this simple skeleton. It basically consists of cards that I consider staple. Upstart Goblin isn't really considered staple, but I think that when you're starting to build a deck, Upstart Goblin is just a nice card to have, because it's 37 cards is better than 40, as we all know. So the deck that I'm going to build is actually the new Mermail Atlantean deck. So I've taken a look at a couple of deck profiles, and I've sort of gone onto YouTube, looked around a little bit, and looked at basic Mermail, sort of like what people consider the deck to be now. They're playing like 2 Megalo, only 1 Abyss Sphere. They're playing shit like 1 for 1, and there's the Abyss Scale. I can't remember the name of it. But what I'm trying to do is the complete opposite. I'm trying to build a deck that's perfect for me, and what I consider the ratio should be. So to start off with, we're going to look at the Atlantean monsters, because obviously the Atlantean monsters are the core of the deck now. So, 3 Prints was standard across all the builds that I looked at. 2 Dragoons was pretty standard. Oh, no, apparently I'm putting an infantry in the deck. 2 Dragoons was really standard, but one thing that wasn't too standard was the debate between Marksman and Heavy Infantry. Now, because I'm going to be running Twin Twisters, I don't think Marksman is as necessary as Heavy Infantry is at this current moment in time. Plus, looking at the decks that are going around, the main deck that I think this deck will have a problem with is Monarchs, and I'm sorry if I'm speaking really fast. I've just had like 3 cans of Monster across my day, and I'm about to go out drinking in about 15 to 25 minutes, and I'm just going to leave this video rendering once I go. Don't drink, kids, it'll get you in problems. So, I'm going to be running 2 Heavy Infantry and 1 Marksman, and I'm going to be side decking an extra Marksman and an extra Heavy Infantry just for sort of, I don't think this matchup's working, and I need to make a change. Now, one card that is coupled with the Atlanteans is obviously Deep Sea Diva. Look at all my melodious babies are here. All of the melodious monsters. But yeah, Deep Sea Diva is also considered a pretty stable card within the Mermail deck. And then we move on to the Mermail portion of the deck. Now, a lot of people are literally just sticking to 3 Megalo, 2 Wind, but I personally, this is my personal belief, I do believe that Abyss Pike and Abyss Turge deserve a spot in the deck. Also Abyss Osha to an extent. So 3 Tias is pretty obvious. Tias is a playmaker in the deck. He also allows you to search combat pieces. So Abyss Tias is there. I'm going to be running 2 Abyss Pike. Abyss Pike searches your marksmans and your guns and your Linde if you really want to add Linde, but that's entirely debatable. 1 Turge. Turge gets your marksman back from the grave. It adds your guns and your Linde back from the grave. So 1 Turge is good. Back when you played Undyne, obviously these cards would have been a lot better, but we're not running Undyne at this current moment in time. I don't think Undyne is needed. We're going to be playing 2 Abyss Lind. Lind's never been a bad card, never will be a bad card. We're playing 2 Megalo and 2 Gund. Now, the reason I'm going 2 Megalo instead of 3 Megalo is because I'm already playing the 3 Tias. And as good as Megalo is in this deck, I don't think it's 100% vital. I'll bump it up to 3 after testing, but because this is a very standard sort of, I'm just building the deck because I can build a deck build. if that actually makes sense. I'm just going to go with 2 Megalo, and the same reason for 2 Gund. Gund can get me like Pike, and obviously I can make those plays there. Gund can also bring back Megalo, so I can make rank 7 plays, and stuff like that. So, the monster count's pretty high, but the monster count is usually quite high in Mermails. I'm also going to throw an Abyss Gaius and an Abyss Trait in the extra deck, just so I don't have to look around for those cards, and I'll explain the extra deck as I go into it. So, when I play Mermails, I like to play a trap-heavy build, meaning traps are... The reason I like Mermail as much as I do like Mermail, not that I don't like it as much as Tellers, but the reason I like Mermail as much as I do is because they can play a grind game, and they can play a very OTK based game. So it's got that basic rushdown and sort of a store game, which I really like, and it's a lot of fun to play. Mermail takes a lot of skill. I'm not talking about like Cosmo and those taking skill, but Mermails do actually take a degree of skill. I wouldn't recommend somebody who's just picked up Yu-Gi-Oh to come and play Mermail. There's a lot of decks that are quite up to your standard. Don't use that. I don't understand why I chose your standard there, but you know what I mean. Like, a new player shouldn't really go for Mermail. If you've got experience in card games, sort of maybe, but if you're brand new to the game, I wouldn't recommend picking this deck up, personally. So I'm going to be running 2 Sphere. I was going to be running 3, but with people just running the 1 Sphere and me only running 2 Linde, I feel like 2 Sphere is a pretty good fit. And then there is the Abyss scale called Mizuchi. Mizuchi just gives you an OTK pretty much. Equip Mizuchi to Megalo, tribute card, and then you are dealing a grand total of 64 damage, 6400. You do have a 2 card OTK. 1 for 1 is another card that I would include in this deck personally, which leaves us 1 free slot for a tech card if we don't take cards out. So, now that I'm at a position where I can have the 1 tech card, that 1 tech card is entirely down to you. When you're building a deck, everybody has their preference when it comes to certain cards. And my personal preference, and a card that I don't think enough people run anymore, that's going to be Fiendish Chain. Now, why Fiendish Chain, you might ask? Because I'm going to be running DeLorean in the extra deck, and DeLorean obviously relies on cards to bounce, and if you're bouncing cards, you might as well bounce a Fiendish Chain and reuse it. Call the Horton's also a good option for this spot as well. Obviously call the Horton for Pike, and then make plays from there. So there's our main deck. So the side deck, also I'm leaving the 3 upstarts in this. Actually, I'm going to remove a Twin Twister and put it in the side deck, and I'm going to add 1 Aqua Spirit, just to make rank 4 plays a little bit easier. Aqua Spirit's always been a good card in the Mermail deck, and I just believe that it's usable. It's kind of like Spirit of the Flames and the Vals. You don't see it a lot, but when you do see it, it does make plays possible. So there we go. Now side deck, we're going to be side decking first for Monarchs, then for Cosmo, and then for generic threat, i.e. Burning Abyss, Tellarknights, etc, etc. So we're going to be running Massive Restrict. Fog King doesn't really work in this deck, although you can sack your monsters. Fog King isn't too great, so 3 Massive Restrict. Then for the Cosmo matchup, we are going to play 3 Lancia. Imperial Iron Wall's pretty good, but I believe that Lancia is just better for the Mermail matchup, because you do sometimes want to banish in this deck with cards like Aqua Spirit. So although you can side Aqua Spirit out technically, I just prefer Lancia over Iron Wall, just out of just personal preference really. Then we are going to be running quite a controversial card, but we are going to be running Mind Drain. This is because the Cyframe matchup is a bitch to deal with. And then we have the one extra spot because I already put the 2 Veilers in, and the Marksman and the Heavy Infantry. So that spot can be used for a Mystical Space Typhoon, a Twister, Shadow Mirror, Light Mirror. Just depends entirely on how you're feeling on the day. So I'm just going to put a Mystical... I'm going to put Light Mirror. I'm going to put in Light Mirrors, and I'm actually going to take out the Marksman and the Heavy Infantry in exchange for 2 more. See, I'm deck building as I go. A lot of changes do get made during the deck building process, and then I'll play a couple of games with the deck, test against a couple of friends, probably test against A-Hill or my friend Marit Large. Shout out to Alistair, my Canadian buddy, and we'll just play a couple of games and I'll work out what builds to play against certain matchups. Although Alistair and A-Hill don't really play any meta decks, A-Hill does play Cosmo a little bit, because he likes Star Wars, I think, was his reasoning behind that. He also plays a little bit of Mermail, and he dabbles, really. And then Alistair is currently playing Infernoids a lot, so Infernoids is a good matchup to play. It's Infernoids, really. They rely on sacking, because, you know, Alistair's a bad player, and unless he sacks, he usually doesn't win. Joking, buddy. Love you lots. Anyway, so we're on to the extra deck. So the Mermail extra deck can be completely all over the place, and I have completely forgotten something. I have completely forgotten something that this deck... See, I'm gonna look bad now. I should have remembered this. So we're going to be dropping the Upstart Goblins, and we're going to throw 3 Instant Fusion in. And then we are going to add 2 Norden to the extra deck. I don't know how I managed to forget Instant Fusion and Norden, because Instant Fusion makes this deck super viable. Norden is a great card in Mermail, guys. So I should have really remembered that, and now I'm going to look stupid, so leave a comment below if you think I'm retarded. Which I know a lot of people will think so. And then after Norden, Mermail tend to run these Synchro Monsters. So they tend to run the Ice Barrier Synchros. They do occasionally run Gungnir. I can't remember how they made Gungnir now. It's been so long since oh yeah, it's 2, 2, and 3 makes Gungnir. So Heavy Infantry into Marksman. It was Diva, summon Heavy Infantry, normal summon Marksman is an extra normal, to make this card right here. Obviously you're not going to make the ritual one. And I think I'm going to add it. Actually, am I going to add it? See, when we played Controller, Gungnir was a legitimate card. I'm not going to play Gungnir for now. Emphasis on for now. So, rank 7s. We're going to go for Big Eye Dragosack and Big Old Gaius. And we're also going to rock Mr. Red Eyes. Is it Flare Metal Dragon? Yeah, it is Flare Metal Dragon. Wow, what a guess. Flare Metal Dragon, if you fail at OTKing, which sometimes you do in this deck, and you leave them with like 500 life points, Flare Metal Dragon wins you the game. So now we're on to rank 4s. So, Bahamut Shark is a must in this deck. Also, you can run Cat Shark, which is a bit of a nifty card to run in this deck. Diva into Heavy Infantry into Cat Shark, which is pretty cool. If you ever decide to go that route, it is possible. Then we're obviously going to be running the obligatory Abyss Dweller. Abyss Dweller is always going to be good in Mermail. Mermail. Then we've got 101, always going to be good. Castel. Ragnar Zero. And then the last rank 4 spot is entirely up to you. I'm going to run Cowboy. And we're actually going to drop Ragnar Zero, and we're going to throw in Diamond Direwolf because of my obsession with Diamond Dire. So, here is the mermail deck, and I'm going to save this deck as, because I don't want to save over the skeleton. Mermails with lots of S's. Anyways, guys, I'm probably going to post a duel with this deck tonight or tomorrow, depending on what time my friend comes over to go out. It's currently almost 11 o'clock, so the clubs may be slightly more open and may have slightly more people in them. So thank you very much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like, and I may send you a kitten in the post. Have yourself a great day, and I'll see you in a bizzle. Goodbye.